Hey guys, it's Chris Wong. I'm filming this video as of September 27, 2025, and I'd like to talk about my new thoughts of inverse ETFs like SPXU, SH, SLTY, and YQQQ. So as a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who's interested in building a portfolio and trying to achieve financial independence, retire early. In previous videos, I talked about how I like to use inverse ETFs in my margin account to protect me in the event I get close to margin call, or I get a margin call and I will have to sell inverse ETFs first. And I'm hoping that when I do sell inverse ETFs, I at least break even or sell at a profit. And I also talked about how I considered using them as buy and hold. So in the event that the market goes down and these ones go up, I still have some buying power and I can still hold on to these. But then last night I was actually playing around with the dividend channel compound drips calculator, and I was actually trying to compare all these ETFs. Like I was comparing SPXU with YQQQ or SPXU with SH, and I was trying to compare when the ups and downs were happening, and I was trying to compare the total returns from certain time periods. Like I was trying to compare in the last 10 years. I was trying to compare with the end date as of last April 2025 when there was a big crash that time, and I was trying to compare like even the last few months and see if I was actually benefiting from holding SPXU in the long term in the event a crash happens and I have something to sell. So I'm not an expert with buy and sell. I don't have expertise with inverse ETFs. And when I made the decision to start buying inverse ETFs since the last time I experienced margin calls, I decided to add them just in case I get margin called so I have something to sell. Or I decided to add them just for my buying power to not be decreased as much when the market goes down. When I decided to buy them, I knew the long-term trend for inverse ETFs was going to go down. And when I was trying to compare the annual average return over many years or over a few years, it seems that SPXU had the average annual return of negative 30 or negative 35%, while SH or YQQQ, it was anywhere between negative 10 and negative 15% overall. I was trying to compare SPXU and SH to see if I benefit from holding SPXU back then and hold it until the last crash in April, but it seemed like I only benefit the most if I bought most of the shares of SPXU at the most recent highs and sold it at the crash day. So if I was buying and holding, it seems that if I want to try to preserve my capital with the expectation that it's still going to go down, that SPXU for long-term holding, because it's triple leverage, it's not ideal for me to hold long-term. The only benefit I see selling SPXU at a loss is planning to buy it back again in the future when the market continues to go up, and then SPXU will go down over the long term. The other thing I'm thinking about is taxes. Now, I don't understand my rules about taxes, and some people say you can use capital losses to offset capital gains. Now, I don't know how to do that properly. I've never experienced doing that, and I don't know the rules for Canadian taxes of US ETFs. So I'm considering reducing my holdings of SPXU, and I may consider moving it more towards YQQQ and SLTY by YieldMax. That way, at least I still get dividends. And when I was comparing SPXU with SLTY, it looked like the downtrend was very similar, but SLTY hasn't been on for that long, so it's hard to predict what's it going to be a few months later. But I did like the weekly dividends from SLTY, so I may consider just moving more towards SLTY, and I'm going to consider increasing my shares of YQQQ, and that way I'm not concerned about triple leverage and just single leverage instead. I did a comparison between several years of holding SPXU and SH, And I think at one of the time periods, I don't remember how many years I did a comparison of, but it looked like when investing $10,000 from this time period, in about 5 or 10 years, it looked like SH cut down in half and SPXU cut down to around like $15. My long-term goal is to have my portfolio to be set and forget it, and to have times when I'm going on vacation, I'm not going to look at it. So if I would have SPXU as a big holding of my inverse ETFs for my inverse portion, I'm going to have to pay attention to it on a regular basis just for the ups and downs in the market if I don't want to lose any money on it. I'm also thinking of considering to add more shares of ULTY, as I saw last Friday that the share price was down, and I may consider adding more shares of XBTY by Granite Shares, which is the yield boost Bitcoin, or I may consider adding the MTYY or COYY if the share price is low enough for me to purchase. I hope you guys liked the video. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Otherwise, please subscribe to my channel for future videos. Thank you guys for watching.